Welcome to Trade You for the Fruit Punch, Season 1, Episode 5. Did you ever think we'd make it to Episode 5, Ari?
I mean, you're a little flaky, so no.
Interesting.
I figured you'd get to the point where you were like, this is me, and then we just drop it. But
No, this is working for me. I think we need to find a different you need to reserve a room at the library where the Wi-Fi is better. Before we start, random thoughts. We had a listener, shout out to Will, say that Kuz is definitely going to win the most improved player. And so
is this Will Murray?
No.
No?
I think
we have more listeners.
Will Murray. Who the hell is Will Murray? Should I know Will
Zach's
Murray?
Little friend?
Oh, no, it's not. Will doesn't know how to get in touch with me, Will Murray. Will does a good job calling the Staples High School soccer games, but no, it's not Will Murray. It's Will, a friend of mine. So I think if Kuz wins the most improved player, you need to buy an oversized sweater and wear that around campus for an entire week. And what I'll do is I'll buy you a Kuz Sixers jersey. I think that's the deal. I mean, the likelihood of him winning is essentially zero. So you can agree to this bet, and it's never going to happen.
I don't get what the point of this oversized sweater is, though.
You haven't seen when he wore the oversized sweaters before games?
It's horrible.
All right, so you have to wear it. Exactly, it's horrible, so you get to wear it. Couple other thoughts. Okay. Isaiah Joe signed, although is it official? Multi-year contract with OKC, good for him. We signed Michael Foster Jr. I don't even know who the hell that is. Bassey
did waive Charlie Brown Jr.
We did. Bassey has still not found a new home, so we're just days away from announcing that he's going to be joining Maccabi Tel Aviv. So that'll be nice. Although everything I'm reading says he's going to be a serviceable big in the NBA for many years. Just not.
I wonder who said that.
Whatever.
Was that from the Ricky? Did you get your opinion?
It was from
Michael
the Ricky.
Levin?
Yes, I did get that information from the Ricky. They also gave me an idea. So to our listeners, we need to end the show in a certain way. Can't just me thanking you. And so I'd like our listeners to come up with some ideas. And apparently Teddy also agrees that we should come up with something. Our neighbors who have a auto body shop next door have decided to move every single fucking car in the driveway and idle more than any human being should idle in a fucking car. So Teddy's not having it. So today we're going to talk Phils. We're going to talk Tottenham. We're going to talk a little bit of Eagles, 6-0 Eagles. Not really anything Sixers related other than tomorrow is opening night, which is one of my favorite times of year. I absolutely love the NBA season. It completely throws off my ability to watch any shows because the NBA is essentially on TV every night of the week. And so I just watch whatever game is on TNT and ESPN and whatever other channel has NBA. So that starts tomorrow. We play away at the Celtics. Everybody hates the fucking Celtics. So let's start with the Phils. A couple thoughts. Obviously, game 3, big third inning, big seventh inning. I believe I called you after your favorite player, Rhys Hoskins, hit a dinger.
He hit a massive home run.
He did. And he threw the bat like he was telling Arjen Robins to go fuck himself.
He literally did.
And then I saw something I've never seen in my entire life of watching professional baseball. He dropped a routine throw right to his glove. And I've never seen that happen before.
I think someone said this on Twitter. I think he just wants to stay trending all the
time. Maybe.
At that point, we got into the point where he was no longer trending. It had been a few innings, and he was like, got to do something to get those Twitter mentions.
Okay, well, so it worked. I believe I may have called you also about that one, and just so you could tell me I told you so, which was always interesting.
He's still a bozo.
Here's what I would tell you though, and I'm not saying anything that other people haven't said, but it's amazing how it's so different in baseball in the playoffs versus the regular season. Right now, a lot of people have read Moneyball. Like you can pretty much guarantee, you can figure out how many games a team's going to win based on their lineup, etc. But every pitch matters. Like it's amazing how, and in the regular season, no one pitch matters at all. And so playoffs are just heightened anxiety, anticipation. I think that stot at bat will be the difference between this team potentially winning it all and not. And so I go back to, and this is pre Ari watching sports, 2008. And I will say, your mother insisted throughout the playoffs that I take you to some of those games. And you were 5 years old and hated baseball. And it's one of the only times I put my foot down and said, like, no, I'm not taking him to any of these games. It's a complete waste of money and time. And so there was an at bat where Brett Myers, the pitcher, who was generally a good hitter, but was a horrible hitter that season, took the best pitcher in baseball, CC Sabathia, to I believe it was 9 or 10 pitch at bat where he walked. And then 2 batters later, Shane Victorino hit a grand slam home run. And that was the start of everyone thinking like this team could do something. That stot at bat where he generally struggles against fastball pitchers, where he fouled off a bunch of pitches and eventually on the 9th pitch hit a double, leading to essentially the Hoskins home run, right? I mean, they walked Schwarber and then the Hoskins home run. So I just think this team might in fact be destined for greatness, or they'll fucking lose the Padres and we'll all be laughing about what I thought was a defining moment in the Phillies
two
postseason.
Options, right?
So I'm going to be 50-50, right? I'm going to be 50%.
Listen,
I'm going to be right.
I mean, for the first time ever, I'm actually backing a sports team that I support. Like, I truly believe in this team. I think they picked up momentum at just the right time.
So right? Would you have rather played San Diego, or would you rather play San Diego, or would you have rather played LA?
San Diego.
You think so?
I think it'll be a more fun series. I think the Dodgers clearly had issues, but they won 111 games. That's still a big team to come up against, and they've got some really good players. But I think this Padres team is us and this Padres team are essentially anti-Moneyball. Just threw the money around, have a lot of big contracts going on, and are proving that spending money works sometimes.
Sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
I mean, we've been spending a lot of money for 3 or 4 years.
They don't have their best player, second best player, call him?
Yeah. I mean, he's been suspended for, right, the end of the season plus the postseason and into next season. Mm-hmm. But they still have a decent look. I think it's a 6 or 7 game series, and it'll come down to, I don't think it'll come down to pitching. I think it'll actually come down to hitting, which is obviously the anti-pitching. So it's one or the other. I
don't know. I think it partially comes down to pitching.
No, I think it's good. I think it's actually the bats that are going to determine this one. And
I think we both know it's not going to come down to the defense, though.
It's definitely not going to come down to the defense. So game 3, right? Obviously, the momentum shifts back to Philly. During the game, a buddy of mine so that crowd, so I went to game 4. And, before I went to game 4, I took a little detour. And I stopped at a local store named Lapstone and Hammer. Lapstone and Hammer is not a sponsor of Trade You for the Fruit Punch and has absolutely no direct relationship with the show other than I buy stuff from them somewhat frequently. Lapstone and Hammer is a premier lifestyle brand specializing in contemporary menswear and premium sportswear with an emphasis on artistry, innovation, and craftsmanship. The lifestyle we espouse includes not only the goods we sell, but a complete aesthetic that is exemplified by supporting and collaborating with creators of all kinds to translate the passion we have for their crafts and the world at large. So I can speak from experience that the collections they produce are of an elevated style and made of the highest quality materials. That shit is just dope, and you should buy stuff from them.
That
Now
shit
back to
is
the show.
just dope.
That was me. That was me ad-libbing the copy. We need a producer.
You should never say
That
that
shit is just
It's
dope.
just dope again.
Come on. It was great.
That's bad.
You know you liked
That's
it.
really bad.
That was my copy. Thank you very much. So, game 4, I was there.
I think you should
And
tell the
there's
story of how you ended up there.
So it's really easy. Game 3, Hoskins hits his homer. We're on the phone. And while I'm on the phone, I've got my iPad and I get a text from my buddy, PJ Charlton. PJ and I went to grad school together. We essentially went to like a lot of the games during the 2008, 9, 10, 11 postseason. And so he goes like, I don't go to October baseball without you. You want to go to the game? And I had nothing else to do. And I was like, sure. And he bought tickets in section 145. So it's between Schwarber and Marsh in the first row. And that game was fucking awesome.
I'm so
But
jealous.
there's so you can watch this shit on TV, and like the 3-run Marsh home run was amazing. The 3-run sixth, Real Muto's inside the park home run was pretty fucking cool.
Pretty awesome.
Man, that guy's got wheels for a catcher. But there's a few things that like on TV, so one thing is like this team chemistry, camaraderie is just off the charts. They like each other. It feels like Joe Girardi had shackles on these guys. And when they fired him and they brought in, Rob Thompson, like they were just able to be themselves. And you can watch it on the field, you could see it. So when they make a play, now if you're watching on video, you'll see this, but they do this thing where they fling and then they go like this, 2 outs. And they keep doing this like for fucking 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Schwarber's huge at it. And then what they do is they show the 2 outs to each other, and then they turn around and they show it to the crowd. And there's something about, like, they appreciate, like, Stott had this play where Alec Boehm dove for the ball, missed it. Stott, backed him up, fielded the ball, threw it to first, out. And the whole place went fucking nuts. But at one point, the crowd started doing the Braves chop.
The chop?
It was freaking –
I hate the chop.
So I hate the Braves. They're one of my least favorite teams of all time in any sport. The problem is, from like the mid-90s until now, the Braves have been the dominant team in the East, except for like 3 or 4 years where we were a dominant team and they weren't all that good. And so we never faced them in the playoffs, as far as I can remember. We faced the Giants a few times. We faced the Cardinals. We faced the Dodgers, the Brewers once or twice. We never faced the Braves. And I hate the Braves so much. And the fact that we were playing them and then chopping them was insane. I mean, the whole place was just doing the chop. And it was awesome. Like, it was a fun day. It was a fun day to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Let's just call it that.
I mean, the happiest I've ever been about my sports teams.
Oh, boy.
And Tottenham out the window. Because everyone knows my thoughts on them. But after game 3 on Friday, I went to Hillel, the Jewish Center, for Shabbat, which I do every Friday. I literally skipped my way over there. I was giddy.
Do you know how to skip?
I mean, yeah. What kind of question?
Some people don't know how to skip. It's really weird. Like they just they kind of run.
I was so happy that I was skipping.
Did you actually skip? Like you actually skipped on campus, or you're
part of the way?
Really?
It was absurd.
You were skipping?
A little bit.
I don't believe you. I need video footage.
I mean,
do you have any receipts on this? Like, I don't believe you. So
I
one of
can
the things I was
skip in
thinking
front
about,
of
though,
you if you'd like.
no, it's about skipping on campus, though, like in front of other people, not me. I guess you don't give a shit. So I noticed, though, like Stott, who I'm starting to really buy into, his walkout song might be the biggest piece of shit
It's
walkout song
atrocious.
I've ever heard. I don't even remember what the hell it is. It's just so horrible.
A lot of them have
And
really bad ones.
they do. The Phillies have
The Bohm one is bad, but at least it makes sense because it sounds like his name. I remember we went to a game and JT's was atrocious. Castellanos's was atrocious. Like,
I mean, even like, look, even our boy Bryce Harper, I think his is like some country song or something. And here's the thing: like, if we had some production value, we'd play a few bars from each of the songs.
we
But like,
play exactly 15 seconds to avoid.
We play 14.98 seconds.
I mean, I could play
song.
them on my phone, but like that's
but like, what the hell are we gonna do? We're not gonna do that. So the question is: so who had the best walkout song of the Phillies?
I mean, it's got to be Didi Gregorius. We went to a single game and he played like a Biggie song. No, Notorious. And it just, I was fucking rocking during that. It was amazing every time.
It is. It just for that, I feel like we should still have Didi on this team.
I would agree, actually. And he was such a shit player, but
yeah. Rest in peace, Didi. Does he get a ring if we win a ring?
He's just not here anymore. I don't see why not, right?
I'd give him a ring. I don't care what it
costs.
But
if he gets a ring, that means that like Odubel I don't like that. And Uris Familia, no thank you. Don't give them rings.
All right, no rings for them. So the question is like what would your walkout song be? And we didn't share these with one another. We previewed this, so because I didn't want to put Ari on the spot, so we previewed this. But I didn't want to put you on the spot because I didn't want you struggling. So, what would your walkout song be?
So, for those of you who know me, I'm a huge music. You can see my one poster in my jail cell that they allowed me. I am a huge music guy. And I was caught in two minds.
Okay.
I was thinking, Don't Push Me by would be awesome. Like, with the way that the beat comes in and that would be cool. But I think, and you can see the album right there, Big to Die, I think it's got to be Things Done Changed. I think it is the greatest rap song of all time, off the greatest rap album of all time. And every time I hear it, it pumps me up. I find myself being lifted mentally when I hear that song. And I think that would be my walk-up song.
Okay. So I gave this a lot of thought. And my first thought was to pander to the crowd and do a Meek Mill song. Even though he's an Arsenal fan.
That would
so Philadelphia, cool. That might be the one I would do.
That would be fine.
And that would be entirely pandering to the Phillies fans.
Love that song. I would do that.
I do like it too, and I've grown to separate my love of Tottenham and my love of Philly sports with because Embiid is an Arsenal fan. Meek Mill, I believe, is an Arsenal fan as well.
Although when Josh Richardson was an Arsenal fan, that was not okay. Because he wasn't good enough for me to set it aside.
Fair enough. So I think I would do that. I might do – you're going to hate this one. I might do a Big Rings by Drake. Because isn't that what we're all after?
That's the family song. That's the family song.
I would potentially do Big Pimpin' from Jay-Z.
That's good. That's a good one.
But then I'm also for those of you who don't know me, I'm a big EDM fan.
Oh, God.
No. So I would do something like a Swedish House Mafia or a Tiesto or something. I'd have to find a little snippet. But I'd have to get through the 4 songs and get
You do
bored of it.
Dancing on My Own?
No.
Have you seen those
Definitely not.
videos of them singing it?
I mean, I was there. I spent
It's
20
awesome.
minute. It's
so
cool,
awesome.
but it's like, come on.
I mean, it's a horrible song. I don't like it, but like every time I hear it now, I feel the urge.
They played at the Eagles game yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
They did. So the one thing that bothers me a little bit though about the Phillies is they keep celebrating like they won the World Series.
Good for them. And don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Act like you've been there before.
Such an ass.
Act like you've been there before. No, you haven't won anything. 8 games to go.
I want to make it clear I don't agree with this boomer.
Okay. Well, this boomer is right because I don't think you need to be celebrating.
They're the
with
underdog
all that
in
gusto.
every game they play. Every game they play is like a mini miracle. They got Joel Embiid to come out of hiding 2 days in a row.
They did. It's amazing.
That was insane. I swear to God, other than like he came out for Ruben's party on July 4th, but other than that, I don't think there's been a Joel Embiid sighting event in 4 years?
Yeah, the
guy's a hermit. Other than playing tennis with Daryl Morey at Drexel, he doesn't go outside.
Unlike Ben Simmons, who this past summer was at Wimbledon hanging out because clearly he wasn't working on his 3-point shot.
Yeah, he had nothing to do.
Yeah, no, I know. Why would one practice their shitty shot as opposed to go to Wimbledon? I guess he picked Wimbledon. So that's actually a good segue because Wimbledon being in London and Tottenham being in London. Tottenham played Everton this weekend. I believe so I thought we would win. I don't know if you thought we would win. We won 2-0. I think some of the highlights.
Because you didn't watch this whole game because of the Phillies.
Well, so I watched the first half, and then I actually went back and watched parts of the second half last night. I was a little bored, during the day. Watching random football games on Fox wasn't doing it for me. So I put the Tottenham game on. And we started off in a 3-4-3. Obviously, with the Rishi injury, we went to a 3-5-2. I like that better. But we took it to I mean, it's officially it said we had 61% of the possession, but it felt like we had more than 2/3. We had 21-4 shots, 7-1 shots on goal. We controlled that game from start to finish. Even though in the first half, Everton had the best 2 chances. And I just think we make a mistake here and there that in years past would result in a goal being scored against us. And this year, only half the time does it result in a goal being scored against us. So I guess we're improving, but we make a few too many mistakes from that standpoint. I think, I don't know, you don't like this, but I love the Conte cam. And I was watching the Conte cam, and I am hoping the hug he gave – it's propaganda, but the hug he gave Doherty after the game.
Now, I'm really hoping that means something because
does that mean something?
The end
does that mean something?
Does that the terrorist regime?
I was hoping that meant the end of that as well. So I'm going to read into it and say it means that. So – we don't have to talk a lot about this game because we won 2-0. But what's interesting is yesterday, before American football came on, I watched the Man United.
So I don't get to talk about Tottenham at all?
No, you can talk. Go for it. What did you think? No, what did you think?
I thought I wasn't as convinced of our dominance in the first half. I thought we had possession, but it never really felt like we were doing. It was another very boring display. Richarlison on the right wing does not work. I think we have to just accept that. He's better off the left. He's better as a striker, lone or in a 2, but he just cannot play off the right anymore. He's completely ineffective. But with him coming off, we switched to that 3-5-2. Basuma was excellent. Basuma allowed for that second goal to be scored because with the wet, the two midfielders switched, right? Bentoncourt shifted over to the right, which allowed him to make the right-hand side, and Højbjerg shifted over to the left, which allowed him to make that late run into the box. So Basuma's addition into the midfield, like, doesn't, I wouldn't say it creates that goal, but it allows for that goal to be made. Because otherwise, at least one of those midfielders has to think that they have to stay back, I think.
Right. And well, fair. And he also, I've never seen anyone cover his entire body as much as Basuma. Like, he literally just shows like his fingertips and his face and neck. Otherwise, he's covered head to toe in some sort of like garment. Like, it's almost I've never seen anything like it. I find it very odd every time he comes in the game.
Kind of
And he
reminds
puts
me
that
of
shirt on and he's like holding it like this.
Tonga used to wear gloves and it was like summer.
And short sleeve shirts, though. Wasn't it a short sleeve shirt with the gloves?
No, he would wear like full on sweatshirts in the summer training pictures.
Yeah.
It was
he always wore that hat, too. He wore that dumb fucking hat.
It was so weird.
Fucking dickhead. I'm so glad he's not a Spur anymore.
He's balling out for Napoli. He's coming back.
Good. He is coming back. He's never going to play for us again.
He should.
So I watched, like, getting back to this, I watched our next two games are against Man United away on Wednesday and against Newcastle home on Sunday. Shout out, I'll be there in the wall, South Stand, enjoying. But I noticed, like, those are our two next opponents, and they were playing one another. And so I had a few thoughts. Like, from a Manchester United standpoint, man, am I thankful we did not hire Ten Hag, their manager. He has zero personality. He is – I don't love his tactics. I mean, that team should have taken it to Newcastle, and they, like, didn't. And I feel like he's going to overstay his welcome within, like, 2 years there. Like, you can get away with that stuff at Ajax in the Netherlands because that league isn't great, and there's only usually two teams that are halfway decent, and they're all just happy to be playing. And it's usually young kids playing or older people who are, like, rehabilitating their games. And so I don't think it's going to work at Man U. I could be wrong, but I'm not a fan. Obviously, you don't agree with that.
I think he's shown that he's very adaptable, but I thought this game was more a testament to Newcastle's defensive scheme than anything else. Like, they've been one of the tightest defenses in the league this year. And I know that we both hate him, but Eddie Howe's doing a pretty good job there.
Oh, I think he stinks. I think he's horrible.
We both hate him, but he's doing.
So here's why I think Conte was the right guy for us. And I saw it in that
propaganda.
Game. So we need a manager who could invigorate the old guard, because we weren't going to change the entire team. We were never going to rebuild. That Google Stadium deal never happens if Tottenham's in 14th right now, or even if Tottenham's in 9th. Yes, the NFL games are great, but you need a team to be performing on the pitch for a Google to come in and want to support and to sponsor your stadium. And I think you need a guy like Conte to work with the old guys, teach them new tricks, and then also slowly integrate newer players and some experience, right? Perisic being the experience. I'll call Sessegnon one of the newer players, right? I'll call Jed Spence hopefully one of the newer players. I think that's really
kind on Conte to say he's integrated Sessegnon, because he was stuck last year with two younger players, Reguilon and Sessegnon. So I actually think that he just made a choice of, like, which one of these guys do I think is more willing to do what I tell him? And I think he decided on Sessegnon. And listen, I think that's the right move, and I'm happy that Sessegnon plays. I think he's a good player. But I don't think with Jed Spence and with Sarr and with Skip this year that and Heel especially, just not willing to play those guys regularly. Unless
I think he needs more time with them. I think he's the kind of guy that needs 3, 6, 9 months with a player before he feels comfortable with that player.
Has he not?
I will say, not really. No, wasn't Heel injured? He was on loan anyway.
But he went on loan while Conte was here. Conte
did send him out on loan because he didn't think he'd have a chance to play right then and there. He would have only have seen him for like a month or two before he sent him on loan. So I don't think he's had enough time with him. What I will say, though, is I think Sessegnon has to start against Man United. Because if he doesn't, Anthony is going to skin Perisic alive. He's going to annihilate him. He's so fast. I don't know how good he is. He seems pretty good.
He's not very good.
I don't know. He looks like he had a pretty good game a few games ago. He looks pretty good. He's
Favela Flair Lucas.
Favela Flair Lucas.
He's got the end product of Lucas, but with like a little bit more of that Brazilian skill.
I don't know. He's fast, and he skinned Dan Burn alive, which gets my points about. Well, Dan Burn is their left back, though. I don't understand why.
I guess it's also Perisic.
So Sessegnon has to start. Casemiro is clumsy. I don't like his game at all. I think he puts a decent ball in, but when it comes to like defending, I think he's clumsy. And of course, I hate.
Wait.
I just think so.
Wait. We're not gonna ignore that. You've completely shifted his game around. He's defensively solid, but his ball is his passing is very.
I thought his passing was decent, and I thought his defending was horrible. Based on a few times that I've watched it. That's what I saw. Hey, that's what I saw. I think the Premier League is a different league than La Liga. And I think he's not going to be the defensive juggernaut he was at Real. I just don't think so.
I would agree with that. I still think the best part of his game is defending.
I haven't seen it. So I think we can take advantage of them. I think Sessegnon has to play. I think we play. Obviously now we play a 3-5-2. And I think what we do, though, is we bring.
You don't think he'll play Lucas as the third attacker in the 3-4-3? I could see that world. I
could actually see that world, but he won't do it.
When you fly to London, if they do that, I need you to murder him for me.
Not
actually, but I
understand.
I'd be so mad. Oh, I'd be so.
So
mad.
does he start Rashford or does he start Ronaldo? Ten Hag.
I think Rashford.
I would think so too. Although Rashford had a header to win that game. Oh boy, he should have won that game.
Well, that's not really his game. He's looked a lot better since Ten Hag came in. But I don't know. I think Ronaldo's done. I think they're done with him.
I think they're done with him. I don't think he's done. I think he finds a home in January, probably goes to maybe La Liga.
You think he goes back?
I think where else is he going to go? He's not going back to Italy. He's not staying in this league because he's not going to play for Watford, right? That's not going to happen. He's not. Does he go to France?
I mean, supposedly want him. I think Bowley is a big fan of his for the commercial game stuff. Also, by the way, it's good that the Dodgers lost because fuck Bowley. That's his team.
Yeah, I don't like him, and I think he's. I don't like what he brings to the Premier League.
I actually don't think. I think that is overstated a lot, but I think if they brought in an All-Star game, that would be kind of cool. Instead of an international break.
But we've seen. I hate international breaks. We all fucking hate them, right? They're terrible. It's 2 weeks of what are you doing here, guys? Just let England play in every goddamn World Cup and let's be done with this shit, right? Let England, France, Italy, Brazil, that 18 teams that should be in. Just let them
It's
in.
funny that you
They're
said Italy,
grandfathered.
even though they're not in the.
I know it's bullshit. They should be in it, but there's probably like 20 teams that should be in every World Cup. And oh, by the way, the World Cup should only be held in like 6 different countries, right? You should not have to build stadiums, same as the Olympics. I'm going to get on my soapbox, but like, why do you have the Olympics in Brazil create all of this infrastructure that now is like overrun with weeds? Like, what the fuck? They built a stadium in the middle of the fucking jungle. Like, what is that? Ridiculous. Like I said, 6 different countries should host the Olympics and the World Cup, and it should be on a fucking rotation. Don't build any new stadiums. Like, feed poor people instead of building new stadiums in Brazil, you fucking idiots. Corrupt morons. Anyway.
All right, we're going to move on.
We're going to move on. Newcastle. So I still think Eddie Howe's a shitty coach. I think he's always going to be a shitty coach. I think, yes, a point at Man U on the road for a team that generally doesn't get points at Man U was a good point. But, like, they should be a little better than that, and they weren't.
Do you think they should be a little better than that?
No, but, like I just hate Eddie Howe.
What on that team gives you the impression that they should be taking it to
No, because I like Dan Burn as a left back, which, by the way, this is my big point about our game. I think Jed Spence needs to start against Newcastle.
He would bully that guy.
Dan Burn would bully Jed, or Jed would bully Jed would run past that fucking guy. And that's why it has to be. The problem is it's going to be Emerson because it's his first game back.
The problem is it definitely won't be.
It's going to be Emerson. But I think Kulu also. Kulu would
what a whole matchup. Oh, my God. I'm picturing
Emerson, Dan Burn. That's going to be – so for all of you people who are not big soccer fans, Dan Burn is the left back in a back four, and Emerson is
6'6".
Yeah, he's not a left back. But they don't have anywhere to play him. You know what they would do? So if they were smart, they would start Target at left back, and we would start Spence, and that would actually be a good matchup. But Eddie Howe's stupid, and Conte is going to go back to Emerson, so it's going to be
no. Hang on. If Eddie Howe is stupid, what does that make Conte? Say it.
Bullheaded. I'll call him bullheaded. Conte's a genius. Stubborn.
I'll give you best.
Fine. I'll take stubborn. I don't mind stubborn. So those are the 2 upcoming games for Tottenham. We also have – so if we shift focus –
tell them about all the games that you're – oh, okay.
Well, yeah, so I'm going to be at the Newcastle game, and then I'll be at the Sporting de Lisbon game. I actually might go on Thursday to the Fulham-Aston Villa game just because I can.
By the way, I was on the phone with my mother earlier, about an hour ago. And she said that you're not taking her to a single game, including the only one she wanted to go to, the Liverpool game.
So I can't buy extra tickets. They won't let me. So I have to wait until they open it up. I'm trying to get her to the Leeds game.
She doesn't want the Leeds game.
Yeah,
she doesn't want the Leeds game. She wants the Liverpool game.
All right. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. I may have to take it to like the cloud. I may have to take it to Facebook and some of the Spurs groups that I'm in and just say, I need an extra ticket. She may not sit next to me, though. That would suck. What's the point? Cool. She'll sit in really good seats. I have my shitty seats in the 500 section.
She'll be rooting for Liverpool, too.
She probably will. She can't. Like, you're not allowed.
She'd get killed.
Well, she'd like bad. Look, she'd use her American accent. She'd be fine, but like it wouldn't go.
They'd be like, "You're a schmuck," and then
you're an idiot. They'd ban me from all future games because I let her in.
That's true,
right? That would be my luck.
You used your Spurs Facebook groups for evil,
right? That's gonna happen. So I'm trying to get her to Leeds. That's like the day before we actually leave, or 2 days before we leave. What are your thoughts? So I get in at like 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. on Thursday morning, and Fulham plays Villa at Fulham Thursday night. Do I go?
I mean, that's more of a turnaround for when you come back from London.
That is, yes, that is more of a turnaround.
We are going. By the way, if Carson play that Eagles Commanders game at the Link, because he's got a broken hand or something now, so he's out for some time. If he doesn't play that game, I'm going to be livid.
Well, you can still boo him.
Yeah, but right? That's so boring.
Nothing stops you. We booed Ben Simmons even when they were up 30 in the first 3 minutes of that game.
The lead up to that game was incredible.
And then the game itself was
the worst day of my life. But
wah.
That lead up, the hatred fueled me.
Yes. So, with all that said, last night the 5-0 Eagles played the 4-1 Dallas Cowboys, and my favorite quarterback of all time, Cooper Rush. Just kidding. I do like him, but he was terrible. Thank God. And we are now the 6-0 Eagles in a division with a team that's 5-1, the Giants, who, by the way, I think stink. They're the fraud.
I'm starting to believe.
No, they're a fraud.
The Ravens
100%
are
fraud.
The Ravens are
No. So
the Ravens are a bad fourth quarter team, but
Lamar is not. As much as I've always loved Lamar, he is not playing up to a big contract. He is not looking good. I don't think he is taking a step back this year. So anyway,
he's been bad, but other than that, he's been outstanding.
I don't think so. I mean, agree to disagree on that one. But so Giants are 5-1, Cowboys are 4-2. Obviously, you watch the game on your small little 13-inch monitor on your computer, alone in your room because there are no Eagles fans in Maryland.
I was supposed to have a friend, but he had a prior engagement.
Okay. Shout out to Eli.
Shout out Eli,
even though you didn't make it last night. So, what'd you think of the game?
Second quarter Eagles are the best team in football.
Best team of all time ever.
Best team of all time.
Of all time.
Literally, I think they have the best point differential in any quarter. The 1950s.
They're the best team of all time. If you just took
in the second quarter. Right. So I saw this tweet and it was like, the Eagles' road to success. First quarter, keep it even. Second quarter, murder ball. Third quarter, power nap. Fourth quarter, let's run the ball, I guess.
Right. That's actually very true. Right? Third quarter, I would actually say not power nap. I would say hibernation. Even worse than a power nap. Right?
They are horrible in the third quarter. I mean, I would say though, Dallas had a 10-minute stretch where I was like, the worst thing that's ever happened to me. We're going to lose this game. And then immediately, we scored and there was it was totally fine in the end.
Yeah.
Overall, we got the game. There were 10 minutes where I was nervy, and every other time during that game, I was ecstatic.
So I don't disagree. I just, I feel like the Eagles get these big leads and they get really complacent.
I will say part of the problem was they were doing a really, really good job on Micah Parsons, where they weren't blocking him. They were just reading him and letting him do his thing and then stopping him when he needed to be stopped. And the biggest factor in that was Lane Johnson. And when Lane Johnson went out, right at the end of that second quarter, that changed a lot. And in the third quarter, they struggled to stop Michael Parsons in the same way. And they kind of, once they found their feet a little bit without Lane, that's when the game started to pick up back in our favor again. So I'm not as nervous as I was during the actual game about that third quarter because of that fact. I think Lane Johnson is a huge factor in this team's success, and him going down hurt us, assuming I had to deal with him not being there.
So I've got a few thoughts. The first thought is, if you asked me 6 games into last season, I would have told you Sirianni is not going to be a good coach. He doesn't understand the game. He makes mistakes. And that guy has proven me he is outstanding. And I actually really loved. I don't know if you saw this when he was addressing media team, whatever, and he picked up the Dallas shirt, Dallas Sucks shirt. And he goes, "Last year I wore this thing." And he goes, "I made a mistake." And here's where I think he was really, really smart and brilliant is those shirts are for the fans. They're not for the coach. The coach needs to worry about getting his players ready to play every week and then game planning against a team he's playing every week.
I
And
like
I
some of
think
his gear though.
I like that he wears Phillies stuff to the Phillies game at game 3, right? That I like. But the getting involved in the Dallas Sucks thing, you could do it in your locker room where nobody's really listening, but don't wear the shirt. Like, be above that. And he's learned quickly. Like, I give him a huge amount of credit. That guy has learned how to be an NFL head coach really, really fast, and he's really good. And I
But at
didn't
the
think he
same
would be.
time, when push comes to shove and they start getting into a fight at the end of the game, he goes, "Game's over. Fuck you."
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I know. He's got the fiery in him.
I love
You
it.
know what?
I'm a huge Sirianni fan.
I'm a huge Sirianni fan, and I was not when they first hired him, and I was not 6, 8 games in. Like that Tampa Bay game last year that we went to, he made a lot of mistakes. Like he was not on top of things. Um, I still think having Sipas as our punter is a huge mistake, but I'll let him have that one. It's not that big a deal.
Now,
So I think
he wasn't
Sirianni's great.
flawless. Like that 2-point
No.
play.
Yeah, no,
right?
I didn't like
you
that
get
one
to
either.
essentially the point where you can just run that QB shove, I guess we're gonna call it. That's essentially what it is, QB shove.
Right.
And instead he decides to like go with something different.
Well, but 2
when he's
yards
getting
out
part
is
of the time.
So 2 yards is a little bit far for the QB shove, I will say. I like he's aggressive. I think being up by 10 is way more important. Like a sure thing is way more important than being up 11 potentially. 10 is an important number. 9 is a little bit of a scary number because it's definitely a touchdown and a field goal, and they don't even have to go for 2 at any point.
I liked 11. I gotta be honest. Like I like the
The
call to go
likelihood
for
of
2.
11
I
is so
just
small.
no, but once they got the penalty, it wasn't as small. That was why they went for it, because Dallas got that penalty.
So I still think 10 is really important at that point in the game. I'll just leave it at that. Like I just think 10 is the right number to be up by at that point in the game. Just kick the extra point. And your main kicker is back, right? You'd have to use the backup.
I like that he's aggressive with the 2-point calls.
I like that he's aggressive.
You know how I feel about kickers.
I know how you feel about kickers, even though I was one. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But I do, going back to our previous topic, I think the Eagles, I'm not as excited as you are. And I'll tell you why. Because they haven't yet fully put together a whole game.
They know that now.
I know they know that. But they need to put together an entire game. And they need to do it consistently over 3 or 4 games. And then we'll say to one another, like, this team's really freaking good. Right now, they're really good, but there's a little bit something missing. And they're going to lose in the next 3 or 4 games.
Don't
they will
put
lose
that into the world. Enough out of
Oh, they're not. Look, I think
they're going undefeated. Undefeated.
The 72 Dolphins have nothing to worry about. Do you know about the 72 Dolphins? They essentially like crack open a beer or whatever. They have a big party after that last undefeated team, loses their first game because they're the last undefeated team in the NFL.
We're doing.
So I think we need to put together a full game for me to get really excited. And so
what I will say about that, like I said, they know that because I listened to Darius Slay talk on the Volume, I think it is, the Colin and the Draymond Green podcast, that channel. And he basically said exactly that. He was like, we've kind of been sleeping in the third quarter. We work on like keeping that energy up, and that's kind of on me. I'm like our energy guy. We need to work on that. And I like that he came out and said that.
That's fair. I mean, Sirianni's going to remind them of that too. So I think do we have a bye next week?
We do. I'm going to be so bored. It's horrible.
It's perfect for me because I'm not even around.
I like the bye this early. No, but this early.
I don't like the bye this early either.
We got 10 games in a row.
Right. No, I agree. Right? I don't like the bye this early either. For any of our listeners out there, if you can, I think I'm going to have to get ExpressVPN so I can watch some games. But if anyone has better ideas in the next 24 hours, please let me know.
I can send you my.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about that. So Sixers tomorrow night. Predictions? Do we beat the Celtics?
No. Someone's got to bring down the vibes in Philly right now, and I think it's going to be the Sixers. But I don't think anyone's going to be paying attention to them because it's at the same time as the NLCS.
So obviously I'll have NLCS on the big TV and then Sixers on the iPad.
Exactly. That's
over/under on PJ Tucker's minutes in game.
Oh, yeah. I think
he plays 33 minutes. 36.
I'm going 36.
Over/under. Well, how many minutes does Matisse play?
7.
I actually take the under. They don't fully
cut him out. I don't think they fully cut him out of the rotation because they're still looking for it. If you fully cut him, they don't give as much or what have you. But yeah, I don't think he plays much.
I think he plays under 7 minutes in this game.
That might be that's very possible.
Especially if PJ Tucker plays your 36. I think he'll play 33. We didn't, predictions on how many wins the Sixers will have.
I mean, I have them finishing second.
So that's got to be in the mid-50s?
Mid-50s. I'll go 55 because it's a nice even number.
So I'm thinking 50.
You're thinking 50?
Because I have them finishing 5th. Even though I hate all my picks. Remember, I have them but I have them going to the conference finals. But I do have them finishing 5th.
You have them
and I hate all my picks. So we're at that stage. We've covered all the sports.
Punch of the week. I'll let you go first because I assume that you are going to steal the one that I was thinking of.
No, I don't think I'm going to give you the same one that you were thinking of. I feel really bad, though, because my punches of the week are, I think I've used baseball way too much.
So you're not going to pick the Braves. I figured you were going to pick the Braves.
No, I'm not going to pick the Braves because fuck the Braves. And, I hate them so much they don't even get credit for being the punch of the week. My punch of the week is the 111-win Dodgers. I mean, they should have killed San Diego. And I say, and I'm going to say, I'm not even going to say I don't think San Diego's all that good because then they're going to beat us in 5. So I'm going to hesitate and not, even though I just put that out in the world. So I kind of just said it, but I didn't say it.
By the way, I love how you're saying that as if we didn't also just beat a 100-plus win team.
I know, but you know what?
Should have beat the shit out of us.
No, I get that. And the divisional rivalries actually, I think, helped the underdog teams because they had seen these guys a bunch before. I will say, Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher for the Braves, it feels like his helmet doesn't actually fit him.
Falls off.
He looks, but it's also sitting high on his head. I feel like he should just go big and have those big fat fucking stupid helmets, those clown helmets, because he looks like a fucking clown, and I fucking hate the Braves. And I hope they have. I mean, I say that, and meanwhile, they're all right now in Jamaica loving life, and they're like, we won it last year, so we can't win it every year. No big deal. But meanwhile, for me, I'm fuck those Braves. I hate them, and I'm so happy. They don't care.
As it should.
They're already over it.
Who cares?
They're already over it.
It's not about them. It's about us.
So my punch of the week is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I hate that my punches are always baseball, though. I feel like
it's baseball season right now.
I know.
Once basketball starts, it'll be the
Cowboys.
7
I will say the Eagles didn't make the Cowboys wear their blue. Like normally, the Cowboys hate their blues, and they always wear their whites at home. And then on the road, they have a lot of teams that force them to wear their blues. And we didn't do that. We were like, fuck it. We like our greens. We're going to wear our greens.
Yeah, we wear our greens.
But we've made them wear their
It's
blues
a clash.
at home.
Who cares?
So anyway, what's your punch of the week?
My punch of the week is Cooper Rush's wife, who
spent she used miles.
Who spent all of her miles to get an expensive-ass flight to Philly, only to watch her husband throw 3 interceptions and lose to this Eagles team.
I love that pick.
I love that they said she used miles. I love that.
I love that she came and she used miles, though. Like,
it's great.
As a mile
woman after your own heart.
And hoarder, like I fully appreciate, and I hope she got a good like translation in the miles. Like it was like 2 or 3 cents a mile versus your standard 1 cent a mile. What I won't say where we're staying in Paris, but we're staying at a hotel where I'm essentially getting like 6 cents to the mile. It is that insane.
Damn.
And that is a really good, a good trade-off. But with that, this will be our
last thing. We need CJ Gardner-Johnson to make NFC Defensive Player of the Week. And he should with his 2 interceptions because the Eagles have had a Player of the Week every week. Let's keep that going all season.
So one thing I would like, we need to sign off on this pod with something. So if there's a listener out there that's got an idea with what we should say at the end of every pod, we'd appreciate it. We're getting some listeners. I mean, and they're staying on longer than the first episode. So something's going somewhat right. I don't know. We'll see. But we need some sort of a sign off. But in the meantime, I'm just going to thank Ari. Thanks, Ari, for being here. Appreciate it.